Hello, my name is Visklugers, and today we will be looking at the upcoming patch 0.12 on the Armored Warfare, which will be live in 17th of December 2015. So it's not too far off, but we already have the details that it will include, and it actually has quite a bit of stuff in it. Now the things that it has are Battle-Hardened Vehicles, which are technically like miniature premium tanks, progressive camo penalties, which is very interesting indeed, and the TD class special ability will be replaced. And then there are a couple of minor things at the end, but let's go through in more detail the bigger news. So the Battle-Hardened Vehicles, in theory it just means that you can upgrade with gold existing vehicles that are in the game to be premium vehicles to all intents and purposes. So you buy with XP and credits a regular vehicle, and let's say I would buy a T-54 at tier 2, and with the half of a tier 2 premium tank price I can upgrade it to a premium T-54. So what are actually the benefits of upgrading? Well, apparently the premium vehicles get a flat 25% credit gain, as well as 25% crew experience gain, 25% command experience gain, and only 10% of the reputation gain. So it's pretty much more like a money grinder at that stage. But honestly, if you're going to upgrade a vehicle to premium status or battle hardened status, you really don't need that much XP, I think, unless you convert that to the global reputation, which I would probably not recommend. But if you have a whole lot of money to spare, then well, by all means. So the vehicle has to be on renowned status, which pretty much means that you have to have unlocked everything on the tank, and I believe you have to have unlocked the next vehicle as well. Of course, you don't have to buy the vehicle, but you have to have fully researched everything in the vehicle, and it has to be at a tier 3 vehicle or higher, so you can have the T-54 premium as I just used in this example, but any tier 3 tank or higher will do just fine, which pretty much means that you can actually have quite cheap premium vehicles if you really enjoy the existing tanks in the game. Because a tier 3 premium, I think they won't even cost 1,000 gold, so you can get a premium vehicle under 500 gold, which ain't that much. Now the next big thing is the progressive camouflage penalties, and this is quite interesting, and I think it's quite more realistic, I feel, because at the moment if you move you get a movement penalty in your camouflage. If you're stationary, that goes off. If you fire, you have a flat penalty to your camo because you fired, and so on and so on. But it will be drastically different from the patch 0.12 on. It will pretty much mean that the more you stay put, the more penalties you're going to accumulate, pretty much. So when you fire, and you fire at the same spot again, there will be the penalties will stack, and it will take some time before the penalty goes away. So let's take I don't know the numbers, but let's say it takes 10 seconds for you to get rid of this penalty. It's probably longer, but let's say it's 10 seconds. So shoot, and you have one penalty. After, let's say, 3 seconds, you've loaded your gun and you shoot again, and after 3 seconds you again and again and again. So you can have stacked up like 4 penalties, so your camo value is like extremely minimal. Now, what I think is very clever is that if you change your position, it accelerates how fast the penalties decay. So if you shoot once and then move 50 meters, your penalty is already gone, pretty much. And also the speed that you use when moving and the distance you've moved have also penalties of their own. So if you are moving like a couple of meters, it doesn't give a lot of penalty because of moving, but it will help with the reduction of firing penalties. Now, I feel like this is more PvP focused thing, because the developers said that they want the gameplay to be more of a flow, that people wouldn't just sit down and camp and so on, that you'd have to move. You'd constantly pretty much have to move your tank and so on. So that is a very interesting thing, and tanks that do have a very accurate gun and so on, like TDs generally have a very accurate guns and not a lot of armor and so forth. The tanks that could be classified as quote-unquote snipers do take quite a big hit in performance here, because you can't just find that sweet spot where you can't be detected and just shoot away, because now you can be spotted if you just shoot away. Now I think this is just something to get used to, and when you just kind of figure out how it works and you just from the muscle memory change a little bit of your position and just proceed shooting at the enemies again, so I don't think it's a big deal, and I feel like this is quite nice addition, I feel. Now the second big thing, which is quite much tied actually to this one, is the new Tank Destroyer's own ability. So the Tank Destroyers used to have a bonus damage if you were fully aimed. I have no idea how much the bonus was, but it wasn't a huge bonus, but it was you made some extra damage with each and every single shot. So that'll be scrapped totally, and the next one will be pretty much giving you Camo, essentially. How it works is that it's an activatable ability with a 60-second cooldown. Now, when you activate it, you have to be 2 seconds still. So it's pretty much like a missile in the sense that you have to be 2 seconds still, totally still, but you can of course rotate the turret, and then you can activate it. So it starts a timer, and you have to make a shot within that time, and the camo penalty that you will get from firing the gun will be reduced significantly. It does not tell you the specific numbers or anything, so I don't know how much it will be, how much the penalty will be reduced, but it says that it is very drastic difference. And then when you shoot, it resets the timer, and so you can shoot again with the reduction on the penalty, and you can shoot with this penalty reduction up to 3 times, and then it will go to cooldown for the 60 seconds. If you move or just screw up and don't shoot in time, it will reset and go on cooldown, regardless of if you have shot 1, 2, 3 or none. It will go to the 60-second cooldown regardless. So I think it's something that you really have to get used to, and it will pretty much go in hand to hand with the new camouflage penalty system in general, and I think that's very interesting. It's more of a like really hidden gunner thing, and I think it's a neat thing because you kind of get quite a lot of possibilities, because tank destroyers generally have quite good camo, so you can kind of go forward, activate ability, make 3 shots and fall back, and then you kind of see how the situation develops and so forth, and after a minute you can do it again. Or you can just, do the old-fashioned way. But I think it's something that adds a little bit of strategy and a lot of more involvement into the tank destroyer gameplay, because now it's just pretty much you find a sweet spot and you fire your gun as long as you can, and then you try to find more enemies that you can engage with impunity. So the tank destroyer gameplay at the moment is quite passive, let's just say. So it will be a bit enhanced, maybe a little bit harder, but maybe more interesting. Now, because the damage buff ability will be gone, they have buffed every single tank destroyer to have a little bit better damage overall, ranging from only 5% damage buff to a 15% damage buff, depending on vehicles. So yeah, I think that's a neat thing. So you don't have to constantly aim and aim and aim, even though you know you would hit even with half the aiming. So I feel like this is a good change. Now, the smaller news is that the PvE will get a overhaul on its maps. The AI spawning will be more random, so it's not the same every single time, making it a lot harder to predict the AI and just exploit the maps. Which I think is a really good thing for the players that do enjoy the PvE, because let's be honest, the PvE is, after you played the same map 5 times, 10 times, 20 times, you pretty much know where and when the AI will spawn and come and chase you. So you can predict it and exploit it to a certain degree. And it makes it quite boring, because you know that they will go here and then they will spawn there, and it's just the excitement and the thrill just pretty much is gone at that stage. So adding there a little bit of randomization will mix things up nicely. And also the AI behavior and targeting and stuff like that will be tweaked quite a bit. So at least for me, sometimes it seemed like the second someone spotted me or I spotted them or something, they just immediately, under a second, they just all pull shot at me. So it was a little bit like, what the hell just happened there, And that'll be tweaked, but increasing their reaction times of higher tier enemies and higher difficulty level enemies, and making them more likely to target vehicles that are closer to them and so on, which is, I think, very reasonable thing to do. Now, there will be a inventory system, the inventory screen update, which pretty much is only that if you have some kind of boosters, like XP boosters, credit boosters, stuff like that, they will be activatable. And if you buy some of these from the game shop, they will not automatically activate, so that you can preserve them for a time where you really want to use them. And you just need to go to the inventory screen and activate them from there, which sounds pretty self-explanatory. And I think that is a very nice thing. If you have played the World of Warships, I believe it will be looking quite much the same as the system that they have with the signal flags. And the final new thing will be statistical sharing, so you can share your dossier, which tracks your statistics on how well you have done, how many shots have you landed, and how many tanks you have killed, so on and so on. It has a lot of stuff. So you can share that with your friends, or on public, or just prevent anyone from seeing them so that they are only your private thing, which is something that is a very small thing, but I guess for those people that want to share their statistics, well, there's going to be the option to do just that. Of course, there will be a lot of changes to certain vehicles, like more buffs and debuffs, but I won't be going through all those. I'll put a link in the description where you can find all these different changes if you want to see them through. But I've quickly checked them out. There is not any huge differences. Quite a lot to lower tier tanks, couple of higher tier tanks, but nothing really huge there, like 10 millimeters of penetration, 15 points of damage more, something like that. Not a huge thing. But anyways, that'll be in the description if interested. I'd like to know what you think about all these changes. I personally feel like that all the major ones are very, very, very welcome things indeed, and the PvE overhaul is also a ridiculously welcome thing, because the PvE is something I personally quite a lot use, so mixing that up a little bit will make it a lot more enjoyable experience. So thank you so much for watching. I thoroughly hope you enjoyed this video, and I do hope to see you in the next video.